All right, everybody. Am I on? I think I'm on. This is Cyclone here, and I'm back with Grim Dawn, which is my favorite ARPG ever. This is, to me, the ultimate Diablo-like experience, and I can always come back to it and just enjoy it. And we actually have some content coming out in the near future. A huge update is coming, which is going to provide an entire new part of the game world with new content and bosses and all that fun stuff. Now, I'm the type of player that does self-found homebrew builds only. I do not mod, cheat, or use build guides. The reason I do that is because I like to learn for myself, and also because I'm playing self-found. I like to come up with ideas and kind of hit on those as I play through the game. Now, what's interesting about the video today is I'm diving back in. There was a brand new patch that came out which adjusted physical resistance, making it a lot harder to acquire and reducing how monsters actually do. And it seems like the game has put more priority into armor and health potentially, even though they've also nerfed health a little bit too. But I've had this character at Ultimate for a while, and I've returned to trying to make it as good of an offense and defense balanced character as I can. And at the moment, I actually see something I have to improve. I'll do that for next time. I want to equip I got to put a better augment on this ring here. I'm using two really big OA rings, offensive ability, which you need offensive ability to crit and do decent damage. So these rings have good OA rolls. I have not found better rings for stats. And sometimes you got to make a choice. Like, am I going to go in for stats, or am I going to go in for certain skills or damage sources or defenses? But stats are but without everything else considered, your stats have to be sufficient. So this character, the Tactician. What is a Tactician? Tactician is a soldier, an inquisitor. These are actually somewhat contradictory ideas. You have your beefy foot soldier here, and you have your ranged skirmisher here. However, they do share some physical damage. They do share some interesting stat padding. So the Tactician has the Inquisitor Seal, which is one of the most important skills in its arsenal. Almost every Inquisitor should likely be running this. I don't know of a reason why you shouldn't. The barrier buff is too good. You're giving yourself damage absorption and elemental resistance. Now, I have older videos showing you this build when it was a little different, but what I've done is I've actually gone with a blade arc soldier at the base that's using some squad tactics and field command and some other general soldier things, and Menhir's Bulwark. I have shifted to using Menhir's Bulwark for the purposes of this two-handed build. You get that damage absorption, you get better healing effects. There's some healing effects on this character, so I want to make sure I'm capitalizing on those. The resistance to life reduction is also pretty helpful against certain there are certain totem creatures, rare enemies that will actually lower your total health number, and that just is a frustration more than anything else. So this reduces the reduction to that number. So again, in the older video, I was using Aura of Conviction, but I was doing so because there's added physical resistance in raw damage percentages to this conviction. Now, I could return to this because on the surface, to my understanding, it is actually greater damage than this. But I actually think right now I want the defense, because I don't think that the damage here is really going to offset the defenses that I get from the Menhir. But in light of that, I am capitalizing here on, first of all, word of renewal. Of course, everybody should be using word of renewal. That is, and how you want to break it down. I just feel like the base skill, you get so much defensive ability, movement speed. These are all huge benefits to your character. I go with Steel Resolve. That Aether and Chaos Res, maxing that out, you get a little bonus damage on top of it, but that added resistance, I mean, when you're maxing out your character, you need these things over-tapped. And my Aether isn't that great until I pop this. Now it's at 36. There are still enemies in the game which will crush you at the very ends of the game if they hit you with a big Aether attack and you're debuffed for whatever reason. Like, this is still not, if I'm being really critical about myself, this is still not where I'd like it to be over 50%. Everything, like, in reality, if you can get it over 50%, that's good. But I'm not gonna bitch and moan too much. Like, okay, I can, whatever. The purpose of today's video is just taking a look at this build and I guess just playing the game because it's been a while. I love this game. It's my favorite ARPG. I've just said that, but I'm really hammering that point in. I love this game. For self-found, I don't think there's anything better because it just, to me, it's the best self-found gaming experience. I'm actually back to using the Everling Grove because these things give you points to Word of Renewal and Squad Tactics, two, as I just showed you, massive skills. Defense and damage, even though these gloves don't have raw damage source on here, you do get that, and I feel like it's a good balancing act between that and something else. You can go with something a little more offensive and fun like this, which I was using, but I really do feel like if you're talking about a harder enemy, which let's actually go jump to one right now. Let's go jump to, let's go to Craval, who's harder than base content. He's a step above. He's not a super boss, but he's I'd actually think that I think he's harder than John Bourbon. At least he is to this character. Like, John Bourbon was the first Celestial they ever made, and I think they made harder content after John Bourbon. This character takes a nap for number. At least I had shield. I could try again without shield. But going with the added damage, just help my grip speed a little bit. And this damage is 9 close off. What again I'm trying to do is balance out defense and offense to make a fairly balanced character that is still be respectable with damage. Because you can actually make a pretty unkillable character, but obviously you won't be able to kill himself. Like, you're going to sacrifice all of your clear speed if you do that. The goal of the goal advantage is close to 3,000 as you can get to your lane game is your benchmark. And the character reaches those numbers some buffs when they get certain buffs up. So I can't reach those numbers, but my way is a little bit, it's a pretty 400 away. So when it actually happens, my way goes through the roof. So then I can start doing massive things. But it's not all the time. It happens from time to time. But the reason why I always die right now is because my gear's not supporting, and my build doesn't quite have it. And I've really chosen to go more to defense versus offense as the side. So, you can see that, like, really good build for that guy and, like, movie hits. That I'm not doing. But it's good enough. I would argue that I was set. But I always set. Some of those challenges, you set. You also have the fun sets, and I don't have all of them. They barely have any of them maxed out. I'm not sure if I have any of the sets, like, fully complete. Maybe some of the lower number ones, but, like, actually targeting those sets is a real process. Like, until it's just locked, you actually find blueprint for it. If you don't know how to play. Honestly, play the sets and play them in all gear, because, like, that's why you always need to remember the difference between self-bound and unlocked. It's not the same thing. You gotta, like, look at it differently. This is a self-bound, legitimate playthrough, so your limitations are much more part of the experience. I feel like this is showing about this to me is more realistic to a majority of players. You're gonna have a modern build the best game that builds, and then people find legitimately different experience. So Craval is pretty tough. They blocked him, I think. I have more resist, I think, fine. Monsters are swift, and they also have more fire damage, which I could be worse. Extra damage is 90 frustrating, but if they can fire, it could be worse. So I'm going to say, all the stuff I showed you. I'm going to say, he is hard, but whatever, like, his side is tough. He's not as like you, like Badger, who's really focused under, trying to face tank it. Oh, wait, here's. I think like that thing's a deal. But it's really great when you can piece of it. Like, I'm going to build the base stuff and not people. Like, I can make this build even tankier, but then food speed becomes tremendously. Like, I was using shield build, and I could more consistently stand it here when I was doing that. But it's not quite long game. The more damage that skill is all one, that skill actually nerfs damage again. And that's it. You definitely want your options to nerf any damage in your build something. That's all. So, it's like, hey, and I go there, and my skill don't cool down, so. Pop that, more damage. There we go. Again, pretty good. And these fighter try. They usually need a little better, but it's something far more over, so I kind of. But, that's not bad. That's pretty good. And these gloves actually are perfect. I was using these before, and they're much more fun. They clear off faster, but actually, because I have 4 points in slide tactics, I argue that this makes up the difference just fine. So I actually think given that these gloves also give you heal and resistances, total speed is probably I just think that's better. Now these have the Ubi leather, that is poison and bleeding resistance, which is still pretty neat. So the healing wind gloves have the spell force plated, that's piercing elemental. And I actually think that in total, covering those bases with one opportunity is better. It'll limit your health too, which I like, not over 27,000 health, which is solid. So go back, let's go back to the captain. And I'm not an organized. I've said this in the past. I'm not organized at all, so I apologize for the really messy stash. I just don't have time or care. Like, you can find things with the search. This is a lifesaver, man. This filter, oh, it's such a lifesaver because, like, you can actually just find what you need by searching, and it fills out only the things you care about. No way. Anyway, the other here is also using this ability as rapid as sands. Now, this bottom gun, and frankly, for an artist, I think it's skill level every day on the first of the game. I don't know. The damage reduction. We're talking about popping out a damage reduction spell, and you pop it every like, few seconds. I think that matters when you add other damage reduction skills. Because, yeah, you can put points into a skill, that's true. And then you also have to remember that skill goes on a cooldown. So, as much as you have a spell like this, so I can put points into it, yes. On the other side, it's when you're not doing damage reduction. But that can pop both a horn and war cry. He's going to have two different damage reductions on. And I feel like that combination is important when you're looking at, combat efficiency. You know what I could do? Game so let me make a point. This is where it is. Caligadra, the second hardest content in the entire game. Like, literally, you can't beat Caligadra just by fucking around. Like, you're going to lose. I think it's this one. I could be wrong. I always, frankly, forget where Caligadra exists in the game. I think it's down here. If I'm not mistaken. But, I want to show you just how powerful Caligadra is and waste a precious resource to show you that because, like, I just want to make a point that what I'm showing you today is... Hold on, I want to find Caligadra. That's not... It's not. I think it's actually at the other. I always forget where Caligadra is. And then I go there and I'm like, oh yeah, there it is. Especially with the physical, just like, I'm going to get destroyed. Is it? It's not Howling Chasm. I thought it was Sunbane Oasis. Let me figure this out here. I could just be totally mistaken. Is it over? No, this is the desert where that creature lives. Is it actually... Hold on, it could actually be down there. That's not. It could be Corvin Sands. And I could just be a fool. I could be an absolute fool! It might be Corvin Sands, everybody. It might be Corvin Sands. I think it is. I think it is. Yes, it is. My PC's having trouble here.